What up, Bulls Nation? We've got a live CHGO Bulls podcast coming up right now. We are out in Vegas still covering the Chicago Bulls and Summer League action on today's jam-packed show. Caleb Wilson speaks yesterday's practice about getting cut by Team USA and why he's glad he didn't shoot that many threes at North Carolina. Plus, a look ahead to tonight's Bulls-Jazz matchup. Darryn Peterson will sit on the second night of a back-to-back. Plus, we're joined by two guests. First, Gil McGregor, who covers PHNX Suns, has intel on Bryson Graham and new Bulls Windy City GM Alex Kaufman, and the one and only Marc Stein joins to share what he's hearing about the Bulls in Vegas. All ahead next. What's going on, Bulls Nation? Welcome into the CHGO Bulls podcast, coming to you live from the desert here out in Las Vegas. Day 4?
It's all a blur.
What day is it? It's Monday. Day
Lost
4.
track of days.
Let's go. Thanks for joining us, Bulls Nation. I'm Peck, Bulls_Peck, joined by Big Dave. Bam! BAWL Sports, Will, the GOAT, Gottlieb, perfectly coiffed. That's right, Devin. The hair still hanging in there in this desert heat. Will_Gottlieb. Read his stuff, allchgo.com. Become a diehard with promo code GOAT, G-O-A-T. And hanging out with us on this epic trip, the one and only queen of the controls, Sarah Bear. Sarah, how we doing?
I am not a millionaire yet.
Sarah's not a millionaire, but
on her way up.
On her way up.
Sarah Bear
She's not the same.
learned the glory and heartache
Oh my gosh.
that is Vegas casinos last night.
But she had a great time.
Oh, she had
you
a
could see the smile on her
a
face. She was like,
blast.
I really like it here.
I genuinely really like it here.
Really like it
Pry her away from the tables.
Literally prior from the tables, from the slots. She just
Honestly,
wanted to live there for a while.
I really could have been there way longer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. We know. We understand. We're glad you had a great time.
There's something about that first trip to Vegas.
Yeah. Matt and I both looked at ourselves and said, I think we've created a monster.
Yeah, when I'm the one looking at the clock on my phone, being like, guys, we gotta get out of here.
She was awesome though, man. She's not the same though anymore. I can tell you that. She is not the same. She wants to win.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah, man, she, talking to the dealers, got the pit bosses hooking up. Like it was impressive. I was proud of her.
We were also playing with like some Russian oligarchs that just like had unlimited funds.
Yes, man.
It would just be like $500 bet, $500 bet.
Right.
They're out, and then pull 500 more out of their pocket.
It was pretty awesome.
Must be
man.
nice.
No, it was a good time, man. It was
Must
a
be
good time.
nice.
No, Sarah Bear was the MVP of the night.
She's going back at it.
Oh, she is.
I'm guessing.
Oh, she's not
She's
done.
like Caleb Wilson after game 1. We lost.
Look.
How do you feel about your performance at
lost.
the tables there?
We
We lost.
We lost. Oh man.
Shout out to Strick, Believer, Devin, Daddy Dex, Giggities, everybody hanging out with us in that chat. Appreciate y'all being here. Lots to get to today, so let's dive in. Yesterday, Bulls practice. Goat and Sarah were there. Had a chance to talk to some of the players and Tiago after practice. Caleb Wilson continues to turn heads with not only his performance in game 1, but just all the fascinating things that come out of that young man's mouth about his journey, his career, and his life. Getting cut by Team USA, fascinating part of his story. He had that all access that the Bulls put out the other day, and his dad spoke about that in that very fascinating video. Go check that out if you haven't yet. And then our guy Goat, smart as a whip, was like, you know what? I want to follow up on that. So Caleb Wilson, after yesterday's practice, talking about getting cut by Team USA and how that drove him to keep working.
I got cut from USA. I've had a lot of stuff happen to me in my life that's like really frustrated me, but I remember coming home from USA and just working really hard that's kind of when I started to feel like I had to prove myself right, because it's hard sitting in a room and somebody tells you you're not good enough. And then all the people that were selected over me, like I always get a chance to play them too. So, I mean, it's always something that I keep in mind, even to this day. That was probably one of the only times in my life where I've actually been like heartbroken.
I know you alluded to it briefly the other day, but it seemed pretty unusual, like your whole season in college. You made 7 threes, and then you made 7 threes in a shortened game, one game. You sort of, contemplate about that. Did that hit you at all after that game?
No, I could shoot in college. It just wasn't my role. I mean, I'm sure you guys have watched college basketball. You ran a Carolina break, rim runner, get to the top of the key. Nothing wrong with it, and I appreciate my coach for allowing me to do what I did in college. I mean, it's no hard feelings, I'm glad I didn't shoot threes in college, because if I did, I wouldn't be here. So.
All right, so that's Caleb at yesterday's practice talking about getting cut by Team USA, and then also talking about his shot profile at UNC. Let's start with the Team USA thing, Goat. Your thoughts on his answer to that question, because for Caleb Wilson, a guy who's had a lot of hype, 4th overall pick, a star with a lot of attention at a blue chip program like UNC, that's a clear and obvious setback for a player who has a lot of expectations for himself.
It's kind of like young Bruce Wayne falling into the cellar and the bats flying around. His origin story.
Who's the Ra's al Ghul of that particular comparison?
Whoever was the coach of that team. No, but I think it's interesting to hear from guys about like what motivates them, and especially for somebody like Caleb, who is clearly very driven. To kind of know where that comes from, and so he's just so great with the media too, and I think that is a very underrated element of the coverage that we get, and the person and the personality that the fans get to know here. So that's been really great. But I think what's stands out about all of that is like this continued thing that he keeps saying. We were talking about this last night, Dave, about wanting to be a Bull, wanting to be in Chicago, this being the place for him. And it's this new era where like Caleb Williams has really been like into being a Chicago Bear, like into playing for this city. Pete Crow Armstrong, Modest, Connor Bedard, all these guys, these young like star potential, if not already star players, are really buying into the city and the fan base. And that's just such an interesting thing that I've never experienced that in my life, where it's like all the 5 teams now have somebody like that. And Mod, I don't want to take away from Modest. He's like been that for sure. And he's from Chicago area. So that makes it a little bit easier. But you just hear that from Caleb and it's like, wow, like that just really adds to the excitement. And I think it makes it so much easier to root for him, for a guy who's already so easy to root for.
Very true. You're right about Modest. I mean, he got a tattooed on him, so he's about that life as well. But Caleb, man, when you ask that question, just the tone of him changed. And like you said, it became the origin story, or him reliving the origin story, him reliving being in that cellar with all those bats. And you just saw everything kind of change on him. And then he became kind of reflective and a little philosophical, at the age of 19 years old, talking about, you go through these things in your life. And, he started, and I'm like, wow, okay, where are we going with this? And then just hearing him speak about it, you saw it started to upset him because he started remembering it. And it started to anger him. That was the part in Batman, like Goat said, to continue his analogy, of when the kid stood up and let the bats circle around him. And then you just saw him come back to where his composure is, come back to where his aggressiveness is at right now, I'm saying, where it is right now, and why he's at this kind of level mentally. And then basically put his arms out and let all the bats and everything hit him in the face. Like, you saw it develop and grow right then and there in front of your eyes. And like you said, it just gave me more reason to root for this young man, more reason that I'm excited that he's here with the Chicago Bulls, because he wants to be here. Not just in the NBA. He wants to be here with the Chicago Bulls, in Chicago, putting on that jersey. I love that picture of him looking up at Jordan in that statue.
That's motivating him.
Yes, because it wasn't a look of, wow, this is larger than life. It was a look of,
that's why I want to be better
than that. You know what I mean? And I'm going to get that. You're going to have my statue up here too. It was a look of, yeah, I'm next. You know what I mean? And you heard it in that speech of him just talking about that goal and everything. You just heard it all. At least that's where my mind was going.
And this is a kid who has like a kill list. This is a kid who every game puts a new picture on his has a new background image on his phone that's like there to motivate him. Last game he showed us it was him with the brace on his hand after getting ruled out for the season, because he said immediately my first thought was July 10th. That's what I care about. And he just like finds a way. I mean, it's such an impressive mentality. But again, like for me, those are the guys you bet on. Those are the guys that you see exceed the tools that they have physically. And I'm talking about like a Jimmy Butler or a Joakim Noah, who are like limited, relatively speaking, in that capacity. And now you're talking about a Caleb Wilson, who's like the most physically gifted athlete. Like this team has had in 20 years. It's just like you combine those two things and it's an impressive stew going as well.
Our guy,
chip on his shoulder.
Saying, look at you dead in the eye with no lies. Love it. Shout out to our friend Paul, who said pretty mature for his age, as you were talking about, becoming a philosopher at 19, Dave. A couple other people, Giggities and Nothing But Bull, pointing out that it gave them MJ getting cut from his high school team vibes when they were listening to Caleb talk about that.
And
then the other thing you were talking about, Goat, as far as the fact that Caleb has made it very clear that this is where he wanted to be. And, like on draft night, posting on his socials that picture of very young Caleb Wilson rocking Bulls gear.
The Derrick Rose pin.
D Rose pin on draft night. That, that part of his answer about his shot profile at UNC, like, I'm glad I didn't shoot threes. And I played within the system, and I was happy to play in that system at North Carolina. And it was, get down the floor, attack the rim. If I did shoot more threes, I probably wouldn't be here.
With the assumption being I would have gone top 3.
Right. Yeah. I was having a little chat about that in our Die Hard Discord yesterday with a few people who heard that. We're like, is he saying that he means if he shot those threes like he did in game 1 of Summer League, that he would have been a top 3 pick and not pick 4?
No,
and I think that is absolutely what he was implying.
He means he would have been the number 1 pick. He doesn't mean top 3. He means I would have been the guy. All right. He's not comparing himself to anybody like, I'm top 3. No, he's like, no, I would have been number 1. All right. That's what he was saying. It was just the right amount of pettiness, cockiness, and a dash of humility and gratefulness. You know what I mean? Like, it was all of that in the one. That is very hard to do.
It's the fine line. And because it's authentic. It's not
authentic. Is a beautiful word.
It's not like performative. It's not, this is what I think I should say, or this is what I think they want to hear from me.
Right.
It's like, this is what I believe. And I have this level of confidence. And I do think that the line between confidence and arrogance is a hard one to, but that's like the message that I get from him. That's the tone that I get. And I think that makes it more genuine and more authentic.
Yeah, it's very true, man. And you can sit and listen to this stuff for hours, from this young man. And again, he's 19 years old. Like, I can't wait to sit and listen to this for the next 10 years from him being here in Chicago. But just a young man who gets it this early, who can combine the youth, the young fans, you know what I mean? Because, oh man, we got cool Caleb Wilson, to the grown fans who are like, no, man, we need that dude with that right mental mentality, knows how to attack it. He's bringing both of those worlds together. You know what I mean? And having everybody rooting for him who's a Bulls fan and maybe who's not a Bulls fan, but just a fan of, really great basketball. But he is genuine. He is legit. He is petty. He is grateful. He is humble. And he is confident.
Yes.
Like, all of those things, man. And that is just all him. And that's what makes it, as you said, authentic.
Shout out to Zoe Joshua, who said, just so happy to be a Bulls fan right now with Caleb Wilson wearing that jersey. Yes, indeedy. What up, Yuta? Good to see you here. What up, French Bulls fan? I saw a French Bulls fan, one of a couple people already, who said, great interview with Dailyn Swain, Goat, and people looking forward to playing or watching Dailyn play again tonight. We're going to tease that interview later on. We got to knock out our first ad break. When we come back on the other side, our first of 2 guests today. It's guest day, all city guest day here for Big Brothers Big Sisters Spirit Week. Our guy, Gil McGregor of PHNX Suns and Mercury. He's got intel on Bryson Graham and Windy City GM Alex Kaufman. The like button's free. Hit it while you listen to these words from our friends and sponsors. We'll be right back.
Here at CHGO, we are very, very, very lucky to be partnering with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. And guess what? Something big, see what happened? Is happening this Thursday, y'all. It's All Cities Day of Giving, supporting the amazing folks at Big Brothers and Big Sisters. This is why it matters. Big Brothers Big Sisters is built around one idea, that every kid deserves someone in their corner. A trained screen adult mentor who shows up consistently, listens, and helps a kid see what's possible for their lives. That is important. It is really cool. Now, the program doesn't run on good intentions alone. It takes real support to make each match last. So this Thursday, join us here at CHGO YouTube channel, and we'll have a special donation link so you can help us fund this incredible, incredible organization. That's happening Thursday, y'all, with Big Brothers Big Sisters and All City Network, because it takes little to be a very big.
CHGO Bulls is brought to you by Sunnyside. Sunnyside Dispensary is here to elevate your summer with their judgment-free shopping. They've got a crazy selection with over 100 strains to choose from, with easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Wherever you are in Illinois, they have a spot for you. As far south as Champaign, as far north as South Beloit. So wherever you are in Illinois, stop into your nearest Sunnyside for expert guidance from their friendly, knowledgeable staff. And don't miss out on the Sunnyside Stash Pass Summer, live now through Labor Day. After every 4 visits to Sunnyside, you'll unlock a reward on your 5th trip and advance to the next tier with bigger rewards available as you progress throughout the summer. Head to their website for only the best under the sun, including getting 50% off your first 3 online purchases for new customers with promo code HICHGO at checkout. Sunnyside Dispensary, only the best under the sun, only for 21 and older and Illinois Med card holders. CHGO Bulls rolls along here live on Monday out in the desert. NBA Summer League action. Bulls back in action tonight, taking on the Jazz. But real quick, wanted to mention, as I did right before the break, it is Spirit Week here at the All City Network. Shout out to Big Brothers, Big Sisters. We are going to be doing our fundraising show Thursday night when we're back in Chicago. We're going to be having a live post game for y'all after Bulls Lakers Summer League Game 4. Looking forward to that very much so. But in the meantime, a fun slate of shows this week. We got All City guests today. We're actually going to have 2 guests who are a part of the All City Network. First one coming up right now. Die Hard Day on Wednesday. That is Discord mailbag questions. We'll be doing that show Wednesday. And then tomorrow, Hot Take Tuesday. So a lot of fun stuff coming. And then rounding out the week, Friday, quiz show day. Going to be playing some fun Bulls trivia. All ahead this week. And shout out to Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Make sure y'all bring your wallets to our Thursday night postgame show. All right, with that, now let us bring in our first guest of the day. Part of the All City Network because he does wonderful stuff covering both the Suns and Mercury for our sister network over at PHNX. Also, a baller and Wake Forest alum. You can follow him on Twitter at Gil McGregor _ Gil McGregor. Welcome to CHGO Bulls. What's going on, man?
What's up, y'all? It's an honor to be able to join. How y'all doing?
Chilling, man.
Doing great. Is it true that you have escaped Vegas and are already back home?
This is true. This is true. Escape might be the word, is the best way to do it, considering how Vegas can sometimes treat you. You might have to escape to get out of there. So I am back in the different desert out here in the Valley of the Sun.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily get much better there.
Still has the heat down there.
Yeah, it's exactly as hot, if not hotter.
I wanted to ask you this. Shout out to you being, shout out to New Orleans as well. You played with a Bulls who I consider a Bulls legend. I'm tongue-in-cheek when I say that. But I got Jakar Sampson, sir, in high school.
Dude. Oh, my goodness.
Who I played with, man. Can you tell me about Jakar and that time you had playing with him?
Jakar Sampson might be the most athletic person I've ever played with in my life. Wow. He was my teammate at prep school for a year, and I don't think the video's on YouTube anymore, but there was a video where we used to be able to dunk in pregame warmups, and he throws a lob to himself off the bounce, and as he goes between his legs to dunk it, he almost kicks the bottom of the backboard trying to dunk the ball. So it would be it was like a pogo stick, but that's funny because I did not expect you to ask me about Jakar. Jakar on the court, most athletic guy, and also just like the most goofy, like just fun, free-spirited guy I've ever really encountered. Really good dude. And every time I saw him throughout his stops in the league, I know he was part of the process for a little bit in Philly. He played in Indiana for a little while. So every time we saw him, it was always love. That's a good dude for sure.
That's a great story. So just to give people a little bit of background, we had our all-city team dinner the other night.
Shout out to Carmine's.
At Carmine's in Caesar's Palace.
Yes.
Good Italian food. We ordered a little bit too much.
A lot of it.
But Gil sat down, and one of the first things that you told us about was your relationship to Bulls' new executive vice president of basketball operations, Bryson Graham. And so we wanted to get you on today to give a little bit of a peek into who he is as a person and your relationship. Can you just tell people a little bit about how long you've known him, what's he like as a person, and just the opportunity that he has?
So the background with that, my dad was the television broadcaster for the Hornets, Charlotte and New Orleans. And when Bryson joined the franchise as an intern in 2010, I was going into my senior year of high school. So he comes in, this 23-year-old intern who just finished playing college basketball. Here I am, 17, wanting to play college basketball. And immediately, whether he knows it or not, I had a new role model around. And, you see somebody who is young, you've seen him, smooth guy, just as smooth as he is now back then. And he was willing to do any and everything. I was reading a story about him. His first thing he had to do as a job with the team was to move boxes. And he was just kind of a constant because at the time I was a ball boy for the franchise. So a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, a lot of times we were kind of right side by side doing a lot of the operational things around the locker room. And as it pertains to my individual basketball career, I remember a lot of times where I'll be working out at the Hornets facilities and he was doing a lot of things, tending to things, making sure the guys were taken care of, making sure the guys' cars were in order. One of the stories that sticks out in my mind was me and another guy who was my peer who we were trying to both make it. We were working out. Bryson was in the gym working out with us. And then post-workout, he was watching over Gravis Vasquez's car. So nicest car I've ever been in my life. Bryce was like, I'll give you guys a ride back home. We're riding in Gravis Vasquez's car. I think we went to grab went to a juice spot after that and just kind of hung out and talked. And I guess from there, I think people say it all the time. They talk about how good of a person somebody is. And this was 16 years ago now. And over the last 16 years, whenever I see him, I didn't get a chance to catch up with him this past weekend in Las Vegas, but, I've seen him several times and he's had different jobs throughout that entire period of time. And it's always the same type of conversations that we used to have 16 years ago. He'd always talk to me the same type of way and ask me how things are going. So, the biggest thing from that is there's a really good person that's doing the job that he's tasked with doing. But there's a reason that he got the job as well. There's a reason why he's ascended in this space as quickly as he has. And it's because he's really good at what he does too.
Let me ask this. You said he became a mentor for you, you know what I'm saying, at that age, just seeing a young guy who's after it, young black man who's after it, in that same kind of way. What did you take from him in that mentorship that you were doing with him when you were speaking to him? What did you take from him and apply to your own life?
I think the thing is there's no job that's just too little for you, right? I think that's something that he said. It's like, if I need to move boxes or do whatever it is, who would have thought that the guy who's moving boxes for an NBA team would eventually be the general manager for that franchise? And everybody's watching you. That's the thing you also recognize as well. And that's one of the things that he kind of told us about our basketball careers. You never know who's in the gym watching you play. And he had an interesting career as far as his path to getting to Texas A&M. And he dealt with some injuries while he was there, and he kind of got in the way of him playing. But I think the biggest thing is you never really know who's watching, and always putting in the work. And there's no job too little. Doing things the right way, it'll get you far. Doing things the right way and being a good person, being a genuine person. People can always read through the fake stuff when it comes down to it at the end of the day. And that's some of the things I was able to take away from him, just from watching, just from observing, but also conversations that we were able to have during that time.
Gil, obviously, no job too small for Bryson Graham, and that has been his story on this rise. And now he has that big job finally for the first time in his career at the NBA level. How do you feel about him taking on this job, and not only this job as the head of basketball ops, but for a market and team and franchise as big as the Chicago Bulls are, with all their history, with their global fan base, and the fact that he's coming on the heels of the John Paxson, the Gar Forman era kind of petering out and stuck in a rut, and then half a season of AK looking like the smartest man in the room, and then, years of, play in tournament mediocrity. Bryson has a lot of expectations from this fan base.
Absolutely. And, the first thing when I saw that he got the job, I just felt super excited about it. I know his name was in the hat and didn't necessarily know how it was going to play out, but felt a sense of pride and the joy and knowing that he was capable of doing it. And from what I've seen from a distance, I know you guys are much closer to it, but him going and talking about justifying his moves with local media, going and answering things head on, and being straightforward about what his plan is for this franchise. He's not BSing. He's not giving anybody the runaround. So I think that for that fan base, for that market, that is the mentality, that is the approach that you're going to have. And it's early on. There's some things that have to be cleaned up before things can kind of be built, if that makes sense. But you guys were talking about Caleb Wilson before I got on here. He did a good job with the draft pick, and maybe that was a home run. Maybe that was an obvious choice at that point. But having a mentality, having an identity that he wants to give this team, and understanding that as there is some housekeeping that needs to be done, can you sit back and ask yourself, okay, does this move make sense? Does it align with, and we talk about that a lot, alignment here in Phoenix, but do these moves align with what he says this team is going to be, what he says this team is going to be about? And I think at this point in time, early on in the juncture, you can say that, yes, everything that he said that the team is going to be, slap gets thrown around all the time. Now they got the entire league talking about slap. And that's a big thing. So be able to coin that phrase and to bring guys in that fit within that identity, it gives you excitement for the big picture and also what's going on in the short term as well.
Can you talk a little bit about how he's building the team? Because he seems to be more focused on the mental aspect of guys. That seems to be the step one of him, more so than the athleticism and the things they bring on the court. Can you talk about how you feel about, someone building a team in that kind of direction?
Absolutely. And you're thinking about being a part of teams specifically, and especially it's something we talk about a lot when like losing streaks are happening. It's like, do you feel like you're playing against the opponent or you're playing against the losing streak? And in reality, you're playing against both. So I think about that on a macro scale, and you're not just playing the 26, 27 season, you're playing against all those years you just talked about of, hey, things need to be turned around. And that's not for everybody. You have to have some mental fortitude to say, hey, listen, I'm going and having the season itself is tough enough as is, but there's a fan base that's hungry for things to turn the corner. And there are going to be expectations levied upon me, particularly individually, but also us as a group. And there are going to be some tough nights. There are going to be some things that we see or are written about us or said about us. But how can you be tough to overcome that? And I think that getting the right type of group that fits that bill, I think that makes sense with what they're trying to do in the bigger picture. I think about a guy like Norman Powell, a guy who like becomes as an all-star for the first time after 30. Like there are plenty of people who probably were like, oh yeah, this is who he is. And even thinking about oftentimes how people write off that 2019 Raptors team of saying, oh yeah, it was Kawhi and a bunch of other guys. The guy who ended up continuing to get better, who was a second round pick and eventually becomes an all-star after the age of 30, like that's the type of mentality that the work is never done. I could continue to get better. And as far, regardless of how you feel about signing a guy who's past 30, he has that mentality and that comes with him. He always says, understand the grind. And that's the type of guy you want to have in a locker room.
The other thing that you said the other night that stood out to me was about Bryson's bringing people with him and like taking care of his people. And Alex Kaufman, who is going to be the Windy City Bulls GM, is one of those people. He brought him along from the Pelicans where he was prior to the Bulls. And that's somebody that you've known for a really long time. What can you tell us about him and who he is and your relationship to him?
Yeah, you talk about I've known Alex for a long time. I'm 32 years old. I've known Alex for 32 years. So Alex and I we were born months apart. Our families were very close. His dad worked for the franchise in Charlotte and New Orleans. So we were nothing short of best friends throughout our childhood, especially moving from Charlotte and New Orleans together. We were the two constants that we had. So going to basketball games and all of that. And I very much can recognize and know that we are very similar in that basketball has always been the background of our respective lives. And it's something that at an early age, we decided that we wanted to stay around at some type of capacity. For him, it was going to the University of Texas and working closely with that basketball program as a manager with the program and seeing Rick Barnes up close and those guys in that program and a lot of success in that. And then going from there and spending time in the front offices in Charlotte, in New Orleans, and now here in Chicago. And what it tells me is that he made an impression on Bryson early on because somebody who put the work in and worked their way up, they recognize those same qualities in other people. And they saw that in Alex. I've known people, and I know people who work for the Hornets organization. I know people who work for the Pelicans organization. And when it comes up that I know Alex, they talk about that quality of work. They talk about how good of a young man he is as well. So those qualities that he wears, he's going to bring with him. And he's another guy who's on the ascension in this space. And super excited for him because, as I said, like some of my earliest memories of life, earliest memories of basketball, he was right there as well.
Gil, one of Bulls fans' frustrations over the past few years of kind of either being a team stuck in the middle or now recently shifting to a younger team and actually finally embracing a rebuild is that the team was not making good use of their G League squad and their two-way contracts and actually finding those diamond in the rough players, if you will, that for whatever reason, didn't fit right with the team that drafted them or went undrafted. And you see so many teams across the league just find these gems that go on to be pivotal role players on teams that make deep playoff runs. The Bulls haven't used that. How do you see Alex Kaufman taking on this very important job of being the GM of the Bulls developmental team?
Not skipping steps. And that goes to how he got to this point, but also how the approach is with identifying talent. The fact that he has a college basketball background, he has a scouting background, he has all the boxes that you understand that you need to identify talent, and also being in lockstep with the Chicago Bulls front office, because the identity goes all the way through. When you talk about alignment again, but making sure things make sense, making sure that these guys fit the developmental timeline, but also the developmental process and program of, okay, right now we're making use of these two-way contracts, these G League spots, and we have something and some structure in place to where we can feed this talent into the big squad, because it is still a new phenomenon. The two-way contract is something we've had for, 6, 7 years now, and now it's not been that long to where every team has had their own G League franchise. And some teams have figured it out quicker than others, but now having somebody else who's seen it up close and very different capacities, I think you can trust that he will make the right decisions, especially knowing the long-standing relationship that he and Bryson have. There's going to be a lot of conversation as far as that goes with, hey, this is what we're looking for. This is what makes sense. This is what we want less of. This is what we want more of. Having that, and I know people sometimes might roll your eyes at people bringing their guys with them, but that's the underrated part of bringing your guy with you, because the conversation, sometimes things that go unsaid, that don't need to be said, can happen as well.
I know we got to go to break, but I always ask anybody who's played this question. Can you give us the best, on any level, high school, whatever, the best game that you have ever had playing basketball, though, that you will always remember, that you will always talk about, your best game?
My best game? Oh, man. My best game would probably be I think I had like a 25 and 22 game in high school. You guys met me now. You know I'm like 6'3", 6'4", but I had to play center in high school. I was the biggest guy on my team. But we were playing against a team, a notorious football school in Louisiana. Their best player ended up playing at LSU. I think he had like 45, 47. I wasn't guarding him. Let's be clear. I wasn't guarding him. He had like 47. But I had 25 and 20, and we got the win. It was like a holiday tournament. So that one sticks out. It came to my mind first. So, I guess you could say I outdueled the LSU commit because we won the game.
Let's go.
Gil, we appreciate the time and the insights, man. Bulls Nation, if you ever need to check in on what the Phoenix Suns are up to, make sure you're following our guy, Gil McGregor, Gil McGregor _ and the rest of their great crew over at PHNX Suns. Check out PHNX Mercury coverage as well. And hey, hopefully we'll talk again whenever we need to decipher Bryson Graham's words, Bryson Graham's body language. We're going to come back to you, man.
Sounds good. We can talk more Jakar Sampson, too.
Return to Jakar. All right, buddy. We appreciate it. We got to knock out another ad break, Bulls Nation. When we come back on the other side, I'll look ahead to tonight's Bulls-Jazz matchup. Darryn Peterson isn't going to play because he's scared of Caleb Wilson.
That's what he said.
That like button is still there for you. It's still free. We'll be right back.
Hit it. 5 years. A whole lot can happen in 5 years. Sarah could go just from a normal producer to a degenerate gambler.
Hey.
Those things can happen in 5 years, ladies and gentlemen.
Responsible gambler.
Responsible. Degenerate gambler. Yeah, responsible. And we can laugh and talk about it all and make fun of it all, ladies and gentlemen, because it's simply not true. But we can do that all because we have Xfinity. And we are online sending people messages and doing all that because we got the 5-year price guarantee. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. Very best part, no annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment is included with all of this, y'all. It is the best. Lock in your price, unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply.
CHGO Bulls is also brought to you by Four Seasons, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Don't know if you knew, but it is hot as Satan's butt crack here in Las Vegas. I'm not a fan of it. You know what I am a fan of, Dave?
Tell me.
Reliable air conditioning. It's necessary. It's even necessary back home in Chicago where it has been hot this summer.
Yeah.
So don't wait for a breakdown. Call Four Seasons today and schedule a complete AC tune-up for just $89.95. Whether your AC stops working, you've got a clogged drain, or you need an extra electrical outlet installed, Four Seasons has you covered.
Yep.
Their expert technicians available 24/7 for emergency service with no additional charge for nights, weekends, or even holidays.
Celebrate.
And if your AC breaks down after your tune-up, they'll fix it at no additional charge. Check them out. They have more than 30,000 five-star Google reviews and maintain an A+ BBB rating. Now's the perfect time to upgrade your during Four Seasons Summer Savings Event. Take advantage of 72 months of interest-free financing, up to $4,000 in rebates, and same-day installation at no extra cost. Visit FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com for all of their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com. CHGO Bulls rolls along here live out in Las Vegas on Monday. Thanks for being with us, Bulls Nation. Hit that like button if you didn't do it during the ad break. Shout out again to Gil McGregor of PHNX.
Awesome.
Great stuff from him.
Yeah.
Zoe Joshua saying, thanks, Gil. Nice interview. The Iceberg saying, thanks for the insights, Gil. Only midway through the interview, and I'm a fan of Gil McGregor. Loving this segment. Yeah, man. Also, I hope, we got to talk to him again.
Yeah.
Great stuff. But next thing on deck, we got a couple of super chats from ISO Noah. Shout out to ISO Noah. 499 super chat saying, let me get your estimated stats for Caleb, Noah, and Dailyn, especially yours, Goat. Assuming for tonight's game, you're talking about Bulls Jazz. ISO Noah also threw us a second super chat for 499 saying, is Caleb comp like a better Detroit Blake Griffin with his athleticism? And I need Noah to play angry after he got mad last game. He played angry.
Let's start with the second one.
Okay.
And then that'll lead us into the first one.
Okay.
I think Detroit Blake Griffin was actually one of my comps for Cam Boozer, because at that point in his career, he had lost a lot of his athleticism.
Yes.
And he had sort of developed more of that playmaking and passing role. So I don't see that one as much. For me, I saw like a Pascal Siakam for Caleb. And I think that'd be a really good outcome. Like everybody's like, his floor is Kevin Garnett. Like at the very worst, he's going to be a top 5 power forward in NBA history. I don't know if I could say that would be his floor, but I do think that is more of the type of player that he was. But I will say, my reaction to that game is that he might be a 3 more than he is a 4. And like having him and Modest together who can both play both positions, that's a really valuable thing to have. But
why do you see him more as a 3 than
the ball handling, the off the dribble shooting, the mobility, being able to come off of, he was hitting step back threes. He was hitting threes coming off of screens. He was attacking closeouts. Like the versatility with him, I think, is something that you tend to see more from a 3 than a 4. And not to say that he can't also be a 4, the rim protection, all that stuff. I think just it speaks to his versatility.
Yeah.
And that is the most valuable position in the entire league right now. Is like the big playmaking wings who can dribble, pass, shoot, defend. Yeah. And he showed he can do all of that. And if you have another guy next to him who can also do a lot of those things, and Modest Buzelis, that is a tough thing to have to game plan against. So I think that those two are going to be pretty dangerous when they get a little bit more polished. But I think as far as my estimates for tonight, I mean, as we alluded to, Darryn Peterson, duck in the smoke, does not want to see Caleb tonight. He's going to be out. No, they played a bunch of games prior to coming to the Las Vegas Summer League, including a back-to-back last night. Yeah. So that makes total sense why he would be out. Also, no Ace Bailey, and I believe one other person who I'm forgetting right now. Cody Williams will also be out. So I think, the Bulls played against basically an NBA team last game, and Caleb went 7 for 11 from 3.
Right.
I don't think that that's replicable. Like I always try to evaluate the game, not based on how many shots did he make or miss, but how did you play and how did you look and what was your approach and how did you get into shots and what were the quality of those shots? I think that ideally that stuff will be the same. I know they want to be a little bit less stagnant, get the ball moving a little bit more, not be as ISO ball quite as much, but I do think without those 3 NBA level talents that you're playing against, there's going to be a little bit more opportunity. I would say, I expect a 25-point game from Caleb again. I don't know that he'll get to 35 because, maybe he goes 1 for 7 or like 2 for 8 or something like that from 3 instead of 7 for 11. But I expect him to get to the rim a little bit more and use his athleticism in transition, which was something that they didn't really do in the last game. Noah, I think, can put a little bit more force and impact on the game. He started to play a little bit better in the second half, so maybe like a 15, 16-point game from him. I could see a couple rebounds. He had 4 blocks last game. I'd like to see him replicate that. Yeah. And Dailyn, I think, will take a big step forward in this game. The defense won't be quite as keyed in on him. The defensive talent that he's going against won't be quite as formidable. And I think he's just already going to be starting to see the game a little bit better. I talked to him the other day in a great interview. He was really, I mean, he's just like so much fun to talk to.
Yeah.
Really smart guy, really thoughtful, really knows the game. And he talked about like the nerves that he had and not really having fun out there. So I think as the game slows down for him, as he gets more experience, as he puts less pressure on himself as the point guard, I think the game will come a little bit more naturally to him. And I could see him having like a 15-5 type of game. 15-5 would be, I think, a really good outcome.
Caleb Wilson, 30. I don't know how many, maybe 6 rebounds, 3 blocks, a couple steals, things like that. But I got him at 30. I mean, he sets those goals for himself. Why not set it here? And also, you're not playing against the big 3 of Utah that they have as well. And you just said it yourself, they went against an NBA team and he showed out. You know what I mean? Like, he pretty much showed out against a team that, they know how they wanted to play. They know exactly how they wanted to defend. And he still was out there with 35 on them. So imagine now they're removing their 3 biggest pieces off the floor, and they're bringing in this dude who just wants to dominate and destroy. Yeah, he's going for it. He's going for 30, man. And I expect some dunks for that as well within that 30 that he's getting. I do expect Essengate to play better. I think you'll have more opportunity out there on the floor. I would like to see it happen early and continuation throughout the game, like he did in his first Summer League game. Like in the first Summer League game, you could see him filling it out. I'm talking about last year. You could see him filling it out, and then in the second one, he really went for it.
Yeah, he felt that impact. Responded, had a much stronger game in game 2.
Much stronger game. So I expect that same kind of thing to happen in this one. And Swain, I don't know if it'll be better, but I expect growth. I'll say that. I do expect it to have more growth and more confidence in how he plays, and more assuredness of his game, because in that awesome interview that Goat was talking about, his teammates got his back and they are for him, and they're going to encourage him to go out there and do what he does best. Because you can see in some of those instances when I was rewatching the game, when he's figuring it out, he's trying to think like, oh no, well, I got to do this. It started clicking for him towards late in the game where he was just like, okay, I'm gonna be me. You got to be yourself. You know what I mean? So I think that'll click a little earlier for him in this game.
So as Goat mentioned, with the ducking of the smoke, in case you missed it, Sarah Todd, Jazz beat reporter for the Desert, or is it the Deseret? Deseret. There you go. Utah paper. After their loss to the Clippers last night, she tweeted, Darryn Peterson, Ace Bailey, and Cody Williams will not play tomorrow. And the 4 of us were sitting at a sports bar here in Vegas having dinner last night, watching that game and saying, oh, Peterson's playing into the 4th quarter of this game.
Down 20.
Down 20? He's not playing tomorrow night. That is the report that we get. Sarah Bear is not a fan of this decision.
She's a rock chalker.
Look, it's very common in Summer League, especially for high lottery picks, to not play back-to-backs.
Yeah.
Avoid unnecessary risk of injury in these games that, yes, are useful in a lot of ways to get a look at guy, develop these young players, put yourself in a good spot coming into training camp in a month or 2. But it's kind of become the norm that if you are a name like Darryn Peterson or even Caleb Wilson, we'll see if Caleb plays tomorrow night when the Bulls have the second night of back-to-back. Maybe not. But it is a bit of a disappointment because the league created these marquee matchups of these top lottery picks. We got Boozer versus Wilson on Friday night. We might or might not have Wilson versus Devanza tomorrow night, but tonight we don't get Wilson versus Peterson, which is a real bummer.
And they also gave, I believe, all 4 of those teams with the top 4 picks 2 days off in between games. So I feel like they just kind of set themselves up for that. But I agree with you that, like, typically speaking, when you're talking about like the Summer League stars, those guys do happen to get shut down. So hopefully we get at least, I mean, we don't even have an injury report for tonight's game. I would imagine everybody's playing. They want to get better. They are using this opportunity to do that. I don't know about tomorrow and I don't know about Thursday, but it would be great if they just continued to play because they have a couple of months here before the start of training camp and the start of the season. And this is a young team that needs reps. You may as well get them.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at Darryn Peterson sitting. Like you said, the number 1 pick, so they sit. We get that. Not surprised at Ace sitting either, dealing with back spell. He didn't even play in the first game that they had. So I'm not surprised at him being cautious with that. Cody Williams, I'm a little surprised about him sitting because I was talking to Go yesterday and telling him like just how impressed I was with the game that I saw him play in. Like, oh no, there's growth there. He's getting better. So when you're getting better, I'm thinking, oh, we're going to continue to play and try to get better. And no, shutting it down, I was a little surprised that he's not going to be out there playing tonight. So I would like to see him more, but fine. I mean, you're out the way. Well, Caleb Wilson's going to take that personally. That's just how I feel.
Peterson got outplayed by AJ. He doesn't want a repeat with Wilson, said so. Joshua in the chat. JoJo773. They're scared of Caleb exposing. Peterson don't want that smoke, said Z3PO. Darryn must be a silly goose the way he's ducking Caleb, said Devin. Look, again, it's like Bulls fans, get your jokes off, and especially because a player like Darryn Peterson coming off of the year he had at Kansas, where a lot of questions were made about his availability or, more importantly, lack thereof. But I mean, he's getting a night off tonight. He's been putting in work.
Yeah.
He's had a couple of these games with turnover issues. He's got 2 games with 8 turnovers. But in a different game, he had 12 dimes to only 2 turnovers. He also 28 points, 25 points, 24 points, 23 points. Even before coming into last night's game, he was only the 3rd player in Summer League over the past, I think, dating back to 2017, I read, to have 20 plus in their first 3 games. And now he's gotten 20 plus in his first 4 Summer League games. So that list, you would assume, is even shorter.
Yeah.
So the dude's been producing. It's a shame the way that the schedule worked out that the Bulls aren't going to be able to see Caleb go up against him. But hey, maybe it puts the Bulls in a better position to get a W tonight.
Yeah.
We'll see.
No, it does. It definitely puts them in that position. And Caleb wants to win. Like he
also wants to beat the best. Like that's
true.
That's the thing about him is like
but you can control what you can control.
You can't control for sure. But I have a feeling he'll be like a little bit disappointed because one of the first things that he said his intro press conference was like, you know what happened when I played those guys in college.
He did say this.
Like he wants to take those guys on and prove that he's the better player.
Yeah,
he's repeatedly said that. He said it yesterday again. He's like, I would have gone higher if I shot threes in college. Like that's right. The confidence there, man.
A habitual line stepper. That's what Caleb Wilson
no other way to put it.
And I love it very much from him. But yeah, he wants to go against the best. He loves that competition. You could see it in that game against Memphis. I'm sure Memphis in that summer league has imposed their will on many other teams. And it's just been like, okay, this is over. You know what I mean? And Caleb's like, no, hit me again. You know what I mean? Like let me feel it. Let me know I'm alive. You know what I mean? Punch me one more time. That stuff is infectious, man. Like that trickles down to the rest of the guys on the floor, whether they know it's affecting them or not. It really is, because he's setting a tone. Like, this is where we're at, guys. You got to meet it up here. All right. At least try to do your best to get up to that level. And that's why I think in that second half, you saw guys playing a little more aggressively.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And trying a little bit harder and doing things. Like, I watched Noah Estegay get beat up more than I have seen him get beat up in Summer League last year. and getting up and still like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that affected some of the free throws, he was taking and stuff like that. But just the fact that he was out there doing it, you know what I mean? And taking those shots and like, okay, well, fine, let's do it. And then watching Caleb Wilson, because I told you I wanted to watch him without the ball, how he was treating his teammates. Watching him pick up Noah Estegay, you know what I mean? Talking to him, you know what I mean? Stuff, little tiny things like that set the culture, continue to set the new culture here in Chicago.
Quickly before we bring in Stein, just for the record, off that ISO Noah super chat, my prediction, 40.
Let's go.
Let's go, Caleb.
Let's see it.
Prove that you're the best player out here in Summer League right now.
Yeah.
With that, I believe Sarah Baird let us know that we have our second guest ready and on deck. Monday, All City Guest Day here for Spirit Week. Big brothers, big sisters. Shout out again to them. It is the one and only legendary Marc Stein. Subscribe to the Substack Stein Line for his great NBA reporting alongside Jake Fisher. Follow him at the Stein Line to check out his regular appearances on All Cities All NBA podcast. He also has an NBA show on Sirius XM. The dude is everywhere, including Las Vegas. Stein, why are you not hanging out in our pool right now, man? What's going on?
I did not get the address and invite to your guys' top secret location. Where? Like roughly, you don't have to give me the full address, but like, where are you guys in relation to the strip?
One of the Harry Reid runways is in our backyard. We're right between the airport and Thomas and Mack.
Yeah.
Weird little spot.
My fingers are crossed right now because we had some eCam issues on my visit I just had with DLS, so I'm hoping we do not have the same here. So let's hope.
Sarah's giving us the all clear.
No, she's saying you're fine. You're good to go.
Good.
In this house, though, Stein, I'm telling you, the 70s came here to die. In this house right here, man.
I love it because I'm a nostalgist. I love that.
Sir. Yes, sir. It is about that life. It is about the nostalgia life up in here with this house.
So, Stein, you talked to a lot of people on your annual trip out to Vegas. Obviously, there is a huge amount of hype around Caleb Wilson, the Bulls' number 4 overall pick. And then pile on top of that was the hype after his Friday night performance, 35 points, firing away from downtown. What are you hearing around your circles and various gossip committees of NBA people? Like, how much are people talking about Caleb Wilson, the Chicago Bulls, this week?
Well, look, I mean, I do have to confess to you guys, more of my conversations are focused on the where is LeBron going? What's up with this Kawhi Leonard trade? What is up with his Gary Trent Jr. contract? Like, really, those are more my conversations. But Caleb Wilson's performance the other night, it only added to the general. Whenever I talk to personnel people who are really here to watch the players, they're all saying that already in a very short time, very small sample size, all the talk leading up to the draft about this draft having multiple difference makers, like, it's already been validated. And you don't normally hear that this early in Summer League. And I think for your guys' purposes, and obviously for everyone who watches CHGO Bulls and everyone in chat, like, this was painted as a top 3 draft. And of course, the Bulls got the 4th pick. So I'm sure you guys must have been as giddy as anyone to see the way Wilson started because, he was injured all season and didn't get lumped in with Darryn Peterson and Boozer and was kind of, excluded from that talk. But I just remember during the draft hearing Bryson Graham really likes Caleb Wilson. The Bulls will be very pleased. They will be fine if Wilson drops to them at 4. They'll be happy. And like I said, I can't say that I've talked to 25 people about it, but I'm guessing you guys are happy and encouraged. And this draft, the lottery of this draft was filled with players who can play right away, and we don't often see that in the modern draft.
Let's go. Yeah, these things that are on Matt and Will's faces are called smiles. and we haven't been there for a while, Stein. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're new. They're throwing me off.
Brand new. Yeah, I know Astoria. It's not Vegas, I promise you. It's this actual team. But man, like, it's so strange because, like, with Bryson Graham and with Caleb Wilson, like, at least for me, both those guys, when we hear people talk about them and we talk to them about them, I've never heard a bad thing, about either one of those guys. Like Legs loved them. You know what I mean? From the beginning when we were speaking to Legs. Like, have you heard anything, you know what I'm saying, about those guys that will make people, oh, okay, well, make you come down to earth or, waiting for that other shoe to fall?
Well, I guess my question is, how patient are you and the listeners to this show? Because I think Bryson Graham in his short time in charge has made it clear that they're not going to rush things, that they're going to be patient and put this thing together slowly, piece by piece. Although it's interesting, like the Norm Powell signing, it's emblematic of a couple things. One of the trends we've seen this offseason are players, good players, Norman Powell was an all-star last season, who have to settle for multi-year deals with only 1 year guaranteed. That is a function of everyone in the NBA freaking out over every single dollar that applies to your books. So Norm Powell, even after an all-star season, could only get a deal with 1 year guaranteed. But the mere fact that the Bulls wanted him tells you they are thinking about the relegation zone. The Bulls want to make sure the Bulls plan naturally is to end up with a good lottery pick at the end of this coming season, but they don't want to end up in the bottom 3 and see their odds reduced from 8.1% at a top pick to 5.4%. So they want it, like, you can't just that was something that Jake and I were hearing about the Bulls in the buildup, to the true offseason, which is, days before the draft, days after the draft, and free agency now. That, the talk was that, Bryson Graham in the past might have said, you know what, we'll take whatever bad contracts you want to throw at us, just as long as you sweeten them with draft picks. But no, you have to, when you're putting a team together, you're like, well, can we at least win 30 games so we make sure we stay out of the bottom 3? So I think that's what we're seeing. Norm Powell, I mean, you guys tell me, like, how is that signing been received?
Yeah, I think it's pretty similar to what you said, is like, this is a different league now where you have to try to put a team together. And I think the other piece is you want to have like some veteran leadership. You want to have some production and guys who can play with some of these young players, Caleb Wilson, Modest Buzelis, Dailyn Swain, to help maximize them and help their development. So I think that was really the thinking, while also, to your point, keeping that flexibility with the 1+1. And trying to put yourself in a position where you can maybe turn him into draft picks. You can decide to keep him. You can just go whatever direction you want to with that flexibility. So I think that was the big thing. I'm curious, Stein, what has, and maybe not even necessarily on this trip, though, if there is anything, feel free to share it, but just the perception about the Bulls offseason and the job that Bryson has done since taking over around the league. Are people thinking he's doing a good job? Are people surprised that there wasn't more of those moves that you mentioned about like taking on bad contracts for draft picks? What's just the general consensus?
I think people understand the position because of the relegation zone, but the best Bulls notes I have to pass. I do have a few. I do have a, I think you guys know, I think I've kind of told you guys this story that when I come here, like, I was in the gym for 4 days straight. It might be the first time I've been in the gym. I don't even know how many years it's been. Like, I never go to games because I want to corner the likes of Bryson Graham off. I hope I run into him somewhere and can talk to him, because I think generally team people are more comfortable talking when we're not in the gym and there's thousands of people watching you. I mean, you see nowadays at Summer League, when 2 GMs talk, instant 500 tweet. Oh my God, they're talking, here's the deal. Like, so I prefer to have the bulk of my conversations away from the gym. I can tell you, I did see Josh Giddey very, very briefly. We didn't talk, but I did see him. I did see your guy AK. Shook hands with him. Very nice pleasantries. Did not mention CHGO Bulls, but we did exchange did exchange a nice greeting. And then the thing,
Stein, how could you not bring us up?
He loves us.
You know what? I'm not sure you're his favorite podcast. I think that might be
We're not.
that might be a falsehood.
Sources
And
can
then-
confirm, yes.
And then I wanted to throw this one at you, because this is purely, this is not reporting. I want to underline this. This is not reporting. This is just me thinking out loud. But now that Valanciunas is a free agent and he's made it to free agency, and even today there was a report that, yup, he's going back to Lithuania for sure. And even I think Valanciunas himself clapped back at it and said, "Oh wow, thanks reporters, thanks for deciding for me." I do not think he is completely ruled out staying in the NBA. His whatever message he posted today, I'm not sure if it was a tweet or an IG post or whatever, would suggest that's the case. Thinking out loud, does the CHGO Bulls cast, would you want Valanciunas there just as a mentor to Buzelis, knowing the relationship there, just to have him around as a vet to help mentor him?
I think those two actually go back quite a while.
Yeah, they know each other.
They've known each other for a long time. The Bulls obviously bringing back Zach Collins. You have Jalen Smith. You trade for Nick Claxton. There's a lot of centers in the room.
Yeah, so it's not necessary. There's no roster room.
But I think
it's a bad idea. Sorry.
No. I think, as we've been talking about with like Norman Powell, it's like you need to have veterans. There's one 30-year-old on this team.
Yeah.
It's like you need to have those guys. You need to have an enforcers. And look, with these 1+1s, that they signed with Collins, Jalen Smith isn't expiring. You've got this year and next year with Claxton. I would imagine that some of these guys get traded. And so that gives you the flexibility to then have someone that can step back in and replace them in the rotation. They have an open roster spot. They've got, they have the ability to sign guys to veteran minimums, but of course they also have the room mid-level exception. I could totally see something like that, especially on a short-term situation.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know, I love Buzelis like that. He's wearing Kenny Reeves number 14. I love that guy. So I am curious to see how he continues to develop.
Stein, as always, we appreciate the time, man. We know you're busy on these Vegas trips. We'll let you get back to making your calls from the penthouse of the Bellagio or wherever it is that you're hiding away, not going to Thomas and Mack. Hopefully we'll talk to you again soon, sometime later this offseason. But stay cool, and Bulls Nation, the Stein Line. Subscribe to the Substack. Check out his SiriusXM show. Check out his regular appearances on the All City NBA pod.
Shout out Jake Fisher.
Appreciate you, Mark.
Love you guys. Be good. Talk soon.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. With that, Chicago Bulls Nation, let's go to a little bit of overtime because we did also want to plug a little bit of what GOAT did yesterday. If you are watching on one of our streaming services and want to catch the bonus coverage from today's CHGO Bulls, just head to allchgo.com.
Around.
What, real quick before we plug the Dailyn interview, GOAT. Jonas?
I think it's
I just took it as like Stein made a joke about it, and then I didn't even see that Jonas clapped back at the reporting.
Yeah,
that was news to me. I thought it was decided, like he was going to go back to Europe and play there.
Well, I mean, they made a big deal about signing Zach Collins as an extension rather than using some of their cap space or renouncing his bird rights and signing him as a free agent, basically. And the reason they did that is because that makes him tradable right away, as opposed to having to wait 3 months, or 6 months rather. So I could absolutely see that. I hadn't heard anything about it, but I think, the two of them playing on Lithuania together, as I said, I think they go back much further than that. So I could see it.
Speaking of playing for Lithuania, Modest got some run with the Lithuania national team for their qualifiers earlier this month. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to say what's up to Modest. I know he and Josh have been around the gym and participating in some of these summer league practices. It sounded like from the latest reporting back when they brought him his jersey. Modest is officially a member of Team Lithuania. He said in some interview for some Euro news outlet that he wasn't sure yet if he was going to play the second slate of games. That's I think in August, closer to when the Bulls all have to report for training camp. Any word on that going around Vegas this week?
I have not heard about that one. I kind of doubt it, but that's just my personal speculation with the team and training camp coming up. I think that they're going to probably want to get him back together. I was talking with somebody about Modest's performance in that tournament, and I think that he wasn't super productive.
Yeah.
I don't think he necessarily played poorly, but I think it was just a little bit of a struggle for him. Mm-hmm. And the person said the only similarity between the FIBA rules and the NBA is that there's a 10-foot basket and a ball. So I think I think that the format I think was a bit of a challenge for him. And I'm not putting too much stock in that as far as it relates to his translation to next season. I'm not worried about Modest. I still have very high hopes for him. I know how driven he is. I think he and Caleb are going to be really simpatico in that way, where they just are both kind of crazy psycho workers.
Yes.
That are going to make themselves and each other better.
Steel sharp and
crazy psycho workers.
That's
crazy psycho workers. EP.
All right, so last thing we wanted to get to today, you had a chance to chat with Dailyn Swain and then also Jalen Sellers a little bit. Kind of hopped into the interview about his game one and what he wants to maybe not necessarily correct, but improve upon or do differently in game two. And I think you had Sarah cut a little clip of this interview, GOAT?
Yes, I believe we have it right now.
Let's go.
Winning for the group is the main goal, but just in terms of your own skill development, what are the things that you're trying to work on and how are you trying to improve those?
I think just the main thing is having fun. I feel like last game I was super uptight, putting a lot of pressure on myself. It wasn't really fun for me. I was just so in my head trying to be more comfortable playing the point guard position, but also still trying to impact the game. I think next game it'll just be more about enjoying it, getting those tweaks out, making mistakes, playing through mistakes, and still just enjoying the moment. But obviously becoming more comfortable in that role, a primary ball handler, being able to get guys where they need to be and make reads at the right time, and also just break the pressure in the full court.
Just really had a good time talking with him. He's a really smart guy. He is really good with the media too, which always helps. But yeah, I think he has a good understanding of like the things that he needs to work on, how he needs to get better, where he can fit in, and how he can like the responsibilities of being like the pure point guard and how that can help the people around him. So I think he's just gonna be good. I just have confidence in him and his mentality and his work ethic, and the kind of prior evaluation of him that I had in the draft, where again I had him as a lottery pick. So I think he's going to be on his way. I think it's a really tough transition for all point guards, let alone guys that weren't point guards. And we talked more about that, his sort of history as a point guard and how he's developing there. So kind of a wide ranging interview. We talked about his jump shot and his ability, just in terms of like what he's done to try to correct some things and rep out his jumper and make that more of a weapon in his game. And just a little background, like, so Sarah was with me as Bulls practice and we sat down with him and we're going to shoot this video, and Jalen Sellers was sitting next to him and he goes like, can I ask him a question? And I think he was like joking, but I was like, absolutely, you can ask him a question, like 1000%. And he's like, no, I'm just kidding. And I was like, no, I'm going to give you the mic and you're going to ask him a question.
That's right.
So there's a little cameo of him at the end asking a question, and he's just another goofy character who's like a hard worker, kind of like crazy psycho worker like that. And I think that's kind of the personality type that Bryson is going after. When you see that consistently across the guys that he's bringing in, I think it's safe to say that that's an attractive characteristic for some of these guys. So really fun interview. It's about 8 minutes long, 7.5 minutes long. But I feel like I learned a lot about who Dailyn is as a person, the things he's working on, how he's doing it. And so I really encourage people to go watch that on our YouTube channel.
Boom, boom. And I believe Sarah Bear just put the link to that Dailyn Swain interview right there in the live chat for you guys.
Watch it.
Treat that as your dessert for the tail end of this here CHGO Bulls episode. Oh, wow. What a fun show.
Yeah,
We
that was fun.
Talked about so many things. And
man.
Had a couple of great guests on. Shout out again to Gil McGregor.
Yeah.
Shout out, of course, always to the one and only legend Marc Stein. And we have Bulls Hoops on deck tonight. There's a long wait over the weekend. You know, especially like talking to some of our other All-City friends at dinner. Like people had games to watch on Saturday.
Yeah.
Games to watch yesterday. We watched a fair amount of games on TV wherever we've been, but long wait, and now we get to watch Caleb Wilson, Dailyn Swain, Noah Senge, and everybody else do battle once again tonight.
That's right.
Hey, beat up the Jazz.
Beat them up.
Show those cowards that if they're gonna sit their guys, then you're gonna beat them. You're gonna beat them by 40, and Caleb is gonna score 40.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
That will do it for now. Check out Goat's interview with Dailyn Swain right there in the YouTube live chat. It's free. Just click the link. And also, read Goat's stuff. He has a great column up on the Norman Powell decision to sign with the Bulls in free agency after they got a chance to talk to Norman Powell out here in Vegas. Promo code GOAT, G-O-A-T, to become a CHGO diehard so you can read his stuff that is for diehards. Only follow him, Will _ Gottlieb. Big day. Bam. BAWL Sports. I'm Bulls _ Peck. We are CHGO _ Bulls, and we are out here in Vegas until Wednesday. We're heading to Thomas and Mack later today to catch Bulls versus Jazz. We'll be back tomorrow, noon Central Time, 10 a.m. local, breaking down Bulls, Jazz, and much, much more, including Hot Take Tuesday, part of our Big Brothers Big Sisters Spirit Week here at the All-City Network. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy Bulls Jazz action tonight. Check out our CHGO Bulls playlist on our CHGO Sports YouTube channel in case you've missed anything over the past few days. Content on content on content. All there waiting for y'all.
Also, a good article on Norman Powell and his arrival to the Bulls, why he wanted to come here on allchgo.com.
Oh,
boom. There it is.
I like it.
And shout out, of course, to the always working Queen of the Controls, the one and only Sarah Bear, who is now addicted to Las Vegas casinos after last night. Hey, she may have lost last night, but she's going to have the last laugh. I believe that.
Say about those psycho workers. Yeah.
Much love to you, Bulls Nation. Thanks for tuning in today and every day. We love you so much. We appreciate you being here with us. See Red. Be good.
KMP, what up?
We all silly like the mayor.